For we are those who stand in the way of old tyrannies, who will give up.
From the thumbnail, you probably guessed it, we're diving into the live-action adaptation of you-know-what. But before we get into the details, let me just say, as a gamer, I'm super hyped. You can tell because I'm dedicating a whole video to this. Now, here's the scoop. Sony is taking on this adaptation. If you've been keeping up with Sony's recent struggles to deliver solid stories, Morbius, Madam Web, you know why some fans are skeptical. Heck, some even think Venom belongs in that category. But hey, let's stay optimistic and hope Sony does justice to the story and the source material. Speaking of source material, we're talking about Arrowhead Game Studios' Helldivers. The first game dropped in 2015, and a sequel, Helldivers 2, in 2024. Now the question is, how will they adapt both games' story for the movie is anyone's guess, but that's what we're here to unpack. Plus, Shams Georgiani wants tons of A-list actors in Helldivers 2, but with a twist. Kill them off fast. So let's dive into everything we know so far. Developed and released in 2015 for PS3, PS4, and PS Vita, Helldivers is a top-down shooter where players battle 3 different alien species to protect Super-Earth. The game was a hit, receiving critical acclaim and selling over 4 million units. A sequel, Helldivers 2, launched in 2024, and it's now considered one of the best co-op shooter games out there. At Sony's CES 2025 press conference, Jeff Keighley revealed that a Helldivers movie is officially in development. Asid Kizilbash, head of PlayStation Productions, confirmed the news, saying, "Looking ahead as to what might come next, I'm excited to announce we are working with Sony Pictures on developing a film adaptation of our amazingly popular PlayStation game, Helldivers 2. You can check out Keighley's posts for more details. Right now, not much else is known about the film, but it's confirmed that PlayStation Productions and Sony Pictures are teaming up for this project. While the movie will focus on Helldivers 2, there's a strong possibility it will pull elements from both games to create the best possible story. Video game adaptations have had a tough track record in the past, with fans often criticizing deviations from the source material. However, with the success of recent adaptations like The Last of Us and the Super Mario Bros. Movie, the interest in video game films is higher than ever. Plus, with the popularity of Helldivers 2, there's a solid fan base ready to support the movie. Some fans have pointed out that Helldivers 2 has similarities to Starship Troopers, the 1997 sci-fi cult classic, which is known to have influenced the game. That movie could serve as a good blueprint for adapting Helldivers to the big screen. However, adapting a fast-paced, action-heavy game like Helldivers could be tricky. The 2005 Doom movie, which was based on another action-packed game, failed both critically and commercially, showing how difficult these adaptations can be. But with advances in technology and special effects, there's hope that Helldivers can find success as a film, as long as the filmmakers strike a good balance between staying true to the game's roots and crafting a cinematic experience. Now, Sony really needs to carefully handle the story from both Helldivers games if they plan to mix them into a single movie. That said, another option would be to split it into 2 parts, where the first movie focuses on the Helldivers 2015 story. In Helldivers 2015, the player is thrown into intense, chaotic combat where coordination is key. It's a top-down shooter where you're up against 3 different alien species in an effort to protect Super-Earth. The game tasks players with completing procedurally generated missions, and each mission requires strategy to avoid friendly fire casualties. Before each mission, players choose their loadout, think weapons, equipment, and gear, and decide where they'll deploy. The game features a unique stratagem mechanic, which adds an extra layer of tactical depth. Depending on the map and the player's playstyle, they can call in things like airstrikes, deploy turrets, or use mobility boosts to suit the situation. You can go for additional firepower, defense, or even support abilities to change the pace of the game. The game's difficulty is consistent, but players can pick either a harder or easier planet for their missions, offering some level of challenge adjustment. In each mission, players fight or sneak through enemy territory to complete objectives before calling in a dropship to escape. The enemy forces have infinite reinforcements, so there's no real reward for just killing enemies. The goal is to avoid combat when you can and focus on the mission. The game introduces a fog of war mechanic and a map that shows enemies the player can currently see. If an enemy spots the player, it triggers an alarm, bringing in waves of reinforcements unless you can either sneak away or take out the enemy forces that triggered the alarm. Once you've completed or failed your mission, you have to call in a dropship to escape. However, this triggers enemy attention and results in a huge firefight as you try to make it to the extraction point. It's a tense 90-second countdown where enemies flood the area, and escaping via the dropship completes the mission. So, Sony has a lot of material to work with here, and if they're smart, they'll break it up into manageable pieces for the film adaptation. Whether they go the route of combining both games or make separate movies, they'll need to honor the story and mechanics of the game to keep fans happy while making it accessible to new audiences. For the second movie, Helldivers 2 would pick up the action after the Super-Earth armed forces failed to contain the Terminids, which have escaped their controlled farms and are now wreaking havoc across the planet. While this chaos unfolds, a new deadly enemy emerges: the automatons, descendants of the cyborgs, who are back to seek revenge on humanity. But things take a darker turn when the Illuminate, an ancient and highly advanced alien race thought to be extinct, return and begin invading Super-Earth's colonies. In response to these escalating threats, Super-Earth declares war and activates its elite task force, the Helldivers. These highly trained soldiers are the last line of defense against the relentless attacks. The movie would focus on their mission to fight back the Terminids, automatons, and the Illuminate as they struggle to save what's left of their colonies. The game's environmental storytelling would also be a key aspect in the movie. Just like in the game, where players uncover logs, notes, and propaganda messages that build the lore, the movie could use visual cues and subtle storytelling to reveal the depth of this universe. It's not just about fighting enemies, it's about understanding the stakes and the long-standing conflicts that have shaped Super-Earth and its struggles. The combination of non-stop action with rich world-building would give the movie a compelling narrative that's true to the game while also broadening the experience for moviegoers. In a recent update on the Helldivers 2 movie, Arrowhead Game Studio CEO Shams Georgiani shared an intriguing casting idea that has sparked plenty of discussion. Georgiani, who is behind the Helldivers games, wants the film to feature as many A-list actors as possible, but with a twist. His plan is to have these big-name stars get killed off in the most dramatic and violent ways right away. He joked about hoping to kill off A-listers immediately, which has left fans both amused and curious about what direction the movie will take. While it's all fun speculation for now, it shows that Helldivers 2 might be looking to take bold risks with its approach, whether that's in the casting or the movie's overall tone. Either way, it sounds like we can expect some action-packed surprises in this adaptation. And that's that for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in our next video.